Before we get to any of that, one of the jockeys who'll be running for the Roses right here on this track, John Velazquez. A little over a year ago, John Velazquez became the first jockey ever to reach $300 million in North American purse earnings.
He's top of the list as far as one of the all-time greats, first of all. I think he's won more money than any other jockey in history, so that speaks volumes.
I think he's the premier rider. I think he's as good or better than any of them.
Velazquez is now in his 25th year as a jockey and has ridden in more than a dozen Kentucky Derbies, which he believes is the most difficult race in the world to win.
You know, even the best horses doesn't win the race, but because they have a tough trip. So it's definitely a very hard race to ride, and definitely you have to be very lucky.
Unlucky was Velazquez time and time again in the run for the Roses.
Whether it was bad with me that I never won it, yes, but I never measured my career in one Derby or in one big race, because actually my whole career has been for 25 years now.
That career began in 1990, after Velazquez graduated from jockey school in his native Puerto Rico, then met Hall of Fame jockey and fellow countryman Angel Cordero Jr. That was your break, really, right?
That was my break, yes. That was a connection from day one. I lived with Angel Cordero. I learned everything that I needed to learn, and it was very helpful, definitely.
Velazquez joined his mentor in the Hall of Fame in 2012.
Number 7,000 for Angel Cordero Jr.
But unlike Cordero, who has won 3 Kentucky Derbies, Velazquez has not been as fortunate on the first Saturday in May.
But you know what? I just look at it, it's not meant to be for me, and that's the way you move on to the next year, the next day, if you will.
In 2009, Velazquez's Derby mount Quality Road scratched the Monday before the race. The very next year, Velazquez was set to ride the would-be Derby favorite, Escondarea. Scratched the Monday before the race. And the following year, Velazquez was the jockey on Uncle Mo. Scratched the day before the Derby.
It just seems like going to the Derby every time I go to the Derby 3 years back to back. It seems like it was really nice horses, and they end up not running the Derby, end up riding something else in the race.
It's just horse racing. That's the way it is. You know, you look, you think your best shot is with this horse or with that horse, and all of a sudden Calvin Burrell comes up the rail and beats you. You know, so you just never know when you're going to be on the right horse.
No, because she didn't quicken though. You know,
She didn't quicken like that.
No.
Graham Motion was the trainer for Animal Kingdom in that 2011 Kentucky Derby. The jockey, Robbie Alvarado, was injured in a race a few days before the Derby. The owners decided to put Velazquez on Animal Kingdom, a horse he had never ridden.
It's just that, I don't know, just something about Velazquez when he jumps on a horse for the first time. I don't know what it is. When they put Velazquez on the horse, it was like the little nudge I needed to pick him in the Derby.
Handicapper Mike Battaglia went with a 20-1 shot to win the Derby because of Johnny V, and he delivered.
It's amazing. It's like I said before, I think and I know that when it's meant to be for you, everything worked out.
Johnny's one of those guys that just always is in the right place at the right time.
12 times before he had ridden in the Kentucky Derby. Never a winner until finally it was the right place and right time for John Velazquez.
Sometimes even the most preparations you do, like I do all the time for every day, every race, sometimes Derby day, Derby race, you got to throw it out, you know, and just go by the time, and hopefully you can get a good trip and your horse responding for the things you want to do. And it was meant to be for you, it's meant to be for you.
Well, Bridget, anytime John Velazquez is on a horse in the Kentucky Derby, that's one to consider at the betting window. Now,